I've seen worse don't do drugs PSAs. In the grand scheme of human history, 2012 will be remembered as one of the years. Let's see, what was going on in the world in 2012? Obama won re-election. I think the Summer Olympics were in London that year. The Avengers came out. And the world was supposed to end. And as someone who's been living after 2012, I can tell you it probably should have. Now, what was I doing in 2012? On account of the fact that I was 6 years old at the time, probably laying around on the living room floor playing with fucking Hero Factory. That is a reference only real 2010s kids will understand. But what really matters for this video is what the fuckers from Oakland were up to, because they made not one, not two, but 3 albums. So yeah, this was mainly started. I decided to do this because I got this amazing box set of all 3 albums in Quattro. You're like, what's Quattro? I'll tell you what Quattro is in a little bit. So let me just. Oh yes. So yeah, this is how they came. I'll talk more about how I got this. I'm gonna have to zoom out here, aren't I? Oh, you're gonna have to see my tripod. Uh-oh, you're gonna see my tripod. That's not good, but I don't care. So yeah, this is how we're gonna talk about this. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to take the time to talk about the trilogy, as it's colloquially. That's a weird fucking word to say. Colloquially known as, or uno dos tres. Let me just get this out of frame. Yeah, these 3 albums. I mean, I'll talk about Quattro close to the end. So so yeah, these 3 albums, uno dos tres. So some brief history before I really start talking about each album individually, because I don't have like a script for this video. I just kind of points. Green Day, they had this big comeback with American Idiot, and they followed it up with 21st Century Breakdown, which was also a pretty big hit, but not as big a hit as American Idiot. But, you know, they were kind of riding this high. They released a live album in 2011 or 2010, I don't remember. Awesome as fuck, it was called. So they were kind of riding like this high in their career again. So they went into the studio in February 2012, and they just were writing just a ton of shit. They wrote a total of like 37 songs. Like, it got to the point where, you know, they wrote so much, like, okay, we're gonna have to do a double album. But then it got to be like, we're gonna have to do a triple album. So they decided on doing a trilogy of albums, loosely kind of inspired off of Van Halen. So yeah, they were like, let's fucking do this. Let's do a trilogy. And something else of note with these albums is they brought in their touring guitarist Jason White, who he was their touring guitarist with them to give them more of like a live feel. So they brought him into the studio for these 3 albums. He actually ended up leaving after Trey. For these 3, he was a member. Like, you can see, like, in the credits. Yeah, you can see his name here. Jason White's there. So yeah, he was in the studio when they were making these albums. I couldn't really tell while listening, which, I mean, that's not a dock against his talent as a guitarist. I mean, he's a talented guitarist, but like, it doesn't really feel all too noticeable. Because like most Green Day songs prior to this, they seemed quite like complete. But I just think it's cool that they decided to bring him on board as a member for these albums. It's less so like it impacts the quality of the songs, and more so like that's cool. It's cool that they did that. So all 3 of these albums released in late 2012. Trey was actually planned to be released in early 2013, but they bumped it up after something happened, which I think it's finally time I kind of address the elephant in the room here. In September 2012, I think it might have actually been the day Uno came out, or like a couple days before Uno came out, but it was around the time Uno came out. Green Day was playing the iHeartRadio Music Festival, which was like this. It's this big music festival. They got a bunch of big names there. I don't really know much about it, but it's a music festival. So they were playing there, and Billy Joe Armstrong believed near the end that their set at the festival was cut short, which later turned out it wasn't cut short. They just had like a short amount of time to perform, because they thought it was cut short to make room for Usher to perform, I'm pretty sure. And he just freaked the out after having like only 1 minute left to play their song. And he stopped midway through Basket Case, and he just went on this just crazy just rant. He just went off. He called out Justin Bieber, I think. I don't fucking know why, because at the time he was like the world's biggest punching bag. He just flipped out, smashed his guitar, basically told everyone at the festival to go fuck themselves, and he stormed off stage. And it was after that incident he ended up going into rehab for like substance abuse, because I believe at the time, like, I think he was drunk when he was performing at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, and also he was taking like a bunch of like prescription medication, I'm pretty sure. So they were like, yeah, dude, you gotta go into rehab after this. So he went into rehab after that, and they had to postpone a bunch of their upcoming tour dates to promote the trilogy. And also they couldn't really do too much press for Dose and Trey, because Uno was like the one they were promoting because it was the one that was upcoming. So they really couldn't do much, which actually ended up impacting Dose and Trey. I mean, that's a fair trade-off, because I mean, I'd much rather Billy still be alive than, you know, numbers for Dose and Trey being a little higher. Even like if the 1 minute incident didn't happen, I like the whole like there was a single for Trey, The Forgotten, that came out before Dose did, because I think it was in Twilight. But like it was like there was signs that this whole thing just really wasn't gonna work from the beginning. The only thing after Trey that they put out was a demo compilation called Demolicious. I think it was the next year. But yeah, after that they just kind of went dark for a little while, which that's understandable. And then they came back obviously in 2016 with Revolution Radio. So I mean, overall the trilogy was kind of a commercial disappointment. Like their first week they sold less than 200,000 copies. Like each sold less than the last. Oh Love, which was like the lead single from Uno, like the lead single for like the entire trilogy, was actually their last song to chart on the Billboard Hot 100. Like they haven't charted since then. Yeah, like these albums may not like have ruined Green Day's image. It was certainly was kind of a messy and low point for them in their career. My foot is falling asleep. God damn it! No. So yeah, this was not the best, but I'll tell you what was pretty cool was this box set here. I'm gonna put all these back in the box. So you may be wondering, what the fuck is this box set, and why have I never heard of it before? Assuming you haven't heard of it before. So yeah, this box set. This from what I was able to gather, this box set came out the day Uno released, and like you ordered it from I think the Green Day official store, and then as the other two came out, as well as Quattro, they'd be mailed to you as that happened, which I think that's actually a pretty genius thing to do. And like it was like this piece of cardboard here where the other three would have been, and it came with a patch and pins. Now I do not have those patch and pins because I did not buy this when it came out. How I got this was I bought this at the flea market a couple months ago. It came with everything, and it also what it came with was which I think also came with the box set once Quattro came out, was print out like photographs and a poster, and I hung them up, so I'll just throw some B-roll here. So those came with it, and it was I think that was actually that was pretty cool. And you know, I honestly don't care about the patch or the pins. They seem like the kind of thing that, you know, you'd look at once and go cool, and then just throw them back in the box and never see them again. And it was actually this box set how I listened to the trilogy for the first time. So yeah, this I think this is a pretty solid box set. This is like one of my favorite box sets I own, which is only like one of two, because the only other one I own is like Nimrod 25, and this. Like Nimrod 25 is good, but like I mean this feels premium. This feels great. enough rambling. I'm gonna start to talk about the albums individually now. So yeah, let's get this. Starting things off with Uno here. This was obviously the first of the trilogy. This came out in September 2012, and this was So I don't have really many other points to hit here. So I'm just gonna kind of go and talk about this however the I want, because this is my video. So I think out of the trilogy, Uno is definitely my favorite of the three. But just like a word of kind of maybe, I don't want to say bias, but almost bias. I did listen to the trilogy when I got these back to back. So like in one sitting I did Uno Dos Tre back to back. So I think by like Tre, my tolerance for listening to any more Green Day music was just rock bottom. Like I just didn't want to listen to it anymore. Like by the end of Tre, I just felt defeated and I was like, I want to fucking do something else. So I think, I mean, even removing myself from that mindset, I still think this is probably my favorite of the trilogy. Which I know I've seen some people say this is their least favorite, and I can understand why, but just personally speaking, I think it's my favorite. So I think the album starts off really strong with Nuclear Family. That's one of the I think one of the better songs from the trilogy. It just driving home at like a steady pace, and it kind of sets the tone almost in a way. Is this first track material debatable? I'd say I think out of the songs on here, it does a nice job being the first one. But I do feel that the next song, which I'll talk about in a minute, is it fits the tone of being an opener just a little bit better than Nuclear Family. It's one of the because like the trilogy, there's so much to it. There's bound to be some diamonds in the rough, and it's a really good song, Nuclear Family. Stay the Night. Okay, I can finally talk about Stay the Night. Stay the Night is, in my opinion, easily the best song out of the three albums, and we're starting in it's in the first album. It's just a solid ass track, man. Like I'd argue it's one of the best Green Day songs, period. Which I know is a bold statement to make, considering, you know, the length of their discography and how many high quality songs they really do have. But I think Stay the Night is one that is kind of slept on, mainly for the fact I think it's in the trilogy. If it was in any other album, I think people would have liked Stay the Night a little bit more. Yeah, Stay the Night is just, I think that would have been a better opener. I think it also would have made a better lead single. Because the one that, well, I'll talk about Oh Love at the very end, because that was the lead single. So yeah, Stay the Night is, in my opinion, a phenomenal song. It's just really great. So Carpe Diem actually, it feels more like a song that would have been written for Warning. It just kind of has that feel, that kind of like, it's like Waiting from Warning in a way. Like it kind of reminds me of that. So I mean, in a sense, I think it would have fit more on that album. I mean, it probably wasn't written yet. so yeah, Carpe Diem, another one of the better songs from the trilogy, Carpe Diem. Like these first like 4, maybe 5, depending on how I feel it, Kill the DJ, are like solid ass songs. Like this feels like because like when they wanted to make the trilogy, because these aren't concept albums. Like each song doesn't really tell a story. It's more so like they wanted to get back to basics and make some like, because like they were doing 2 political rock operas back to back. They wanted to get back to, you know, the core of it all. I think Uno is a solid, for what it is. Uno does that job pretty well. Let Yourself Go. Let Yourself Go is another really solid song from the trilogy. It feels like I'm just, you know, sucking the trilogy's dick, and I won't be throughout this video because I have problems with the trilogy. Let Yourself Go feels like a classic Green Day song. You know, it has that driving feel to it. It has that energy to it that is in all of the great Green Day songs. I don't really want to compare it to their earlier work because I know people hold their earlier work in like really high regard, especially like Kerplunk and Slappy Hours. But Let Yourself Go, like it has that energy to it, and I really like that. Now I know Kill the DJ is a little controversial of a song, not because of the content, just because, like, you know, the song itself. Like I know a lot of people aren't too fond of Kill the DJ. I don't hate Kill the DJ. I actually kind of like it. It's just they're trying to do dance punk, and I think they could have done dance punk a little better. But like for what it is, Kill the DJ, it works. It's a decent song. Nothing like to write home about necessarily, but it's just it's a pretty decent song. The chorus is pretty decent as well. Now, here's the thing. I usually, like, for the 21st Century Breakdown video, I re-listened to that album. I did not re-listen to Uno Dos Tres, so my opinions may change later on. Mainly, the reason I didn't is because I don't have 3 hours, but I haven't come back to Fell For You. Like, Fell For You, from what I remember, hold on, let me look at the lyrics. I don't feel like coming back to Fell For You. Like, some, like, the opening lyrics, I woke up in a pool of sweat, first thought I pissed the bed. Like that's just kind of, like, it's just kind of immature in a way. And, you know, some songs, like, can be immature and, you know, be good still. Like, I think some of the ones on Dose, like Makeout Party, I enjoy. But just, I don't like Fell For You that much. And then Loss of Control. I liked Loss of Control more when I was first sinking my teeth into the trilogy, because I did listen to a bunch of the songs before I listened to the albums in full. I don't know. It's just, I'm not as big a fan. Like, this stretch of songs from Fell For You to Angel Blue aren't the best. And then Troublemaker, like, again, like, a lot of these songs just kind of feel like filler. Like, I don't come back to those often. Like, they're just kind of generic. And that's something that I think the trilogy kind of falls, like, into a pitfall of. Like, a lot of the songs do feel a little bit formulaic. But yeah, so I'm just, like, Troublemaker. I think I liked Troublemaker a little bit more than Angel Blue. Or, I don't remember. I don't remember. Like, these songs are just so unmemorable. And then Sweet 16, I enjoyed that song. That's a sweet little song. I think it was written about Billy's wife. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was. But it's a nice, sweet little song. No pun intended. And then Rusty James, that's a song that's kind of grown on me. I like Rusty James. It's a nice song. I think it's about, like, you know, about, like, all the other bands from, like, when Green Day was first starting out in, like, Gilman Street and stuff, who, like, didn't make it, I think. I don't know. But Rusty James, it's a pretty good song. And then, okay. Oh Love. I just can't get into Oh Love. I just can't do it. First of all, that was the lead single, and first of all, you don't release the final song as the lead single. Like, you don't do that. Like, that's reading, like, the end of the book first. Like, you don't do that. And then the song itself is just, it's not that good. It's not good. I know some people really like it. I am not one of these people. I just can't really get into it. Like, it's so, I don't want to say, like, monotonous, but it's kind of monotonous in a way. It's just, like, it feels like it's trying to build to something, but, like, it doesn't feel like it's trying to build to something, but, like, it doesn't feel like it's trying to be the end, because it feels more like the beginning. It's just, a lot of factors prevent me from just enjoying Oh Love, because it's not a song, like, I've tried to get into it. I've tried to be like, yeah, this is a good song. I just can't. It's just not that good. It's kind of overrated. And there's better cuts, not even on just the trilogy as a whole, from Uno, that are leagues better than Oh Love. Also, the video for Oh Love, I want to talk about the videos for the trilogy for a second, because they had, like, budget for, I think, 1.5 videos, because the rest, they're like, f*** it, we're just going to play in some grungy-looking area, and that's it. There's not going to be any fancy things, and then just have fans make the videos, because I think there was fan contest. There was a fan contest, I think, for the videos, for X-Kid for sure, and I want to say Nuclear Family, but I think Nuclear Family also got one of the videos where it's just them playing in, like, some basement somewhere. Ugh, I regret watching the Oh Love video. But, like, I don't think, like, that video fits Oh Love. So yeah, that's the track listing. And I mean, overall, like I said, Uno is probably still my favorite of the trilogy. It has some pretty decent Green Day songs, and some that are, like, kind of like I'd consider classic Green Day songs. By and large, Uno is, like, I'd say Uno is good. There is some mediocre songs, but I think that, like, the highs, they're decently high. So overall, I'd still consider Uno a good album. So yeah, time for Dose. Alright, so Dose came out in November 2012. Like, these next two get, like, I see kind of hate for all of them, but Dose, I think I see more hate for it. Because the band themselves has stated Dose is kind of like the spiritual successor to their side project, Foxborough Hot Tubs, which, again, haven't listened to Foxborough Hot Tubs because I'm a fake fan. But I have listened to a couple of the Foxborough Hot Tubs songs, and they do kind of feel like, Dose kind of feels like it's cut from the same cloth as Dose. Because in the documentary Quattro, which, again, I keep teasing my retrospective on Quattro, they did say that, you know, Uno and Trey were going to be like the poppier ones, and then Dose was going to be weird. This one's going to be really dirty, and it is. That's, yeah. So let's just get this over with. You know, Dose starts out really, really strong. You know, you got See You Tonight, and I remember I was listening to this for the first time. I was like, damn, this is gonna be a solid ass track. Maybe this whole album is gonna be kind of like, you know, a little bit more of a departure, you know, a little bit, maybe a little more reflective in a way, but I doubt it. But I'm like, you know, I have hopes for See You Tonight. Like, this feels like a strong opener. And then, oh wait, what's this? Time's Walking On In. Time was actually supposed to be a Foxborough Hot Tub song. But, good God, that juxtaposition. Like, you have See You Tonight, which is like this minute-long kind of like, maybe not reflective, but like kind of like it's got a feel to it, you know? But then Time, it transitions into it. And what the hell? Like, if you wanted proof that Billy Joe was not sober during the production of these albums, Time is that proof. Time, if you can't tell, I hate that song. It's bad. Because I think Dose has like some of the worst songs from the trilogy. But thankfully, after this, it improves for the next, from tracks 3 to 10. Like, this stretch of songs here. This is like, some of these songs can go toe to toe with Uno for me. Not saying that Uno's their best album. It's far from their best album. But like, from the trilogy, like, some of these songs, they can go toe to toe with Uno. Like, Stop When the Red Lights Flash, that's a good song. It's got like this kind of like march energy to it, you know, like. But yeah, Stop When the Red Lights Flash, that's a solid song. Kind of also ties back to Oh Love. How dare I say Oh Love? Because that song had it was like, no, don't stop when the red lights flash, and this is like Stop When the Red Lights Flash. So it kind of ties back in a way. Lazy Bones is another really good song. It has like this bittersweet feel to it for me, and I don't know what it is. The song itself is just being bored, which, I mean, boredom is a very common theme in Green Day. Just look at Longview. But like, you know, it just like the style of the song and like the sound of it all. It feels a little bittersweet to me, and it's a really good one. Wild One, it's decent. Kind of has a feel like it's similar to Outlaws. Again, I haven't listened to a lot of these songs. Yeah, so just Wild One is just kind of meh. Like, can you see a pattern here? Like, a lot of these songs are just kind of okay. Like, they're very formulaic. You know, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, end. Like, rinse, repeat for 12 songs a pop. You got the trilogy. Makeout Party, I re-listened to recently because I was making a playlist, and I wanted to see, you know, because, you know, let me revisit Dose, some of those songs. Makeout Party is not that bad. I mean, it can seem a little immature at times, but I don't hate it. Like, I think the vibe of the song is just really strong. There's really not much else to say about it. But what I do want to talk about is Stray Heart. Stray Heart is the other video that they had the budget to make. Really good. And it's a good video. Go watch it. Stray Heart, it's got like this bouncy, like, swing tempo feel to it. It's like the bass. Like, something else about this trilogy. Mike's bass skills in the trilogy really f***ing shine. He knows how to write a killer ass bass line, and the trilogy has some killer bass lines. But like, some of the bass lines in the trilogy are really f***ing strong, and some of like a lot of these songs like overall, not just in Dose, show how strong of a bassist Mike Dirnt is. And Stray Heart is one of those songs that's got like the like, it's got that feel to it. And Stray Heart is, I don't want to say it's my favorite, because, I mean, Stop When the Red Lights Flash is also really good. But Stray Heart is a killer song, and easily one of the best of the trilogy. And then it's immediately juxtaposed with Ashley, which is like this like really high octane, high energy song. Like, just it just gets right to it. It's like, you know, songs that start immediately with lyrics. Ashley is one of those songs, and, you know, Ashley's like a pretty high energy song. Again, not really like the best, but like, it's still pretty good. Baby Eyes, don't remember Baby Eyes. But I do remember Lady Cobra. Lady Cobra is really good, and she's also here. Funnily enough, Lady Cobra, the person, she's featured on this album, but she's not on the song that bears her name. But what song she is featured on is Dog Shit, otherwise known as Nightlife. God, okay, so if I ever make a video about Father of All, which I don't want to talk about Father of All, I'll make the comparison to Nightlife. Nightlife is just... Until I listened to that album, Nightlife was probably my least favorite Green Day song. It is just who thought that, like, yeah, I know people on Kill the DJ, but Nightlife is ass. Nightlife is just, ugh. And what I was saying earlier about Dose having some of the worst of the trilogy, Nightlife is one of those songs. And then it's like, you have Lady Cobra on there, and she's doing like rap verses, which is kind of out of place given, you know, everything else on this album. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Nightlife. Nightlife, And Nightlife is where this album just takes a nosedive in quality, which doesn't recover to the final track. Because I don't like Wow, That's Loud. I don't like it. I know I'm not really giving reasons for why, because again, a lot of these songs are just unmemorable, but I remember not really vibing with it, and like I listened to it before I listened to the album, and even when I was listening to the album, I just couldn't really get into Wow, That's Loud. Fortunately enough, Amy saves the album, because I mean, Amy is I think probably one of their better closers overall, because they do some. Green Day knows how to do a closer of an album, like just like look at See the Light, look at What's Her Name, look at and Die, maybe not Ordinary World, but like Macy's Day Parade, Prosthetic Head, I could keep giving examples, but all of their closers, most of their closers are really solid. But Amy is just like a really, really solid closer of the album. It's also kind of, I mean, it was written about Amy Winehouse. None of the members ever met Amy Winehouse during her life, but the song was kind of written in like memoriam. But Amy it's just a guitar. It's like See You Tonight, but it lasts longer. It's a really nice closer to the album. It kind of, like, the whole thing is just this wild ride of ups and downs. It goes sideways, and it's nuts. But Amy overall is just, it's a really fucking good closer. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just Billy Joe, a guitar, and it's nice finishing the album. Amy, it's just, like, I think the trilogy would have been better. Like, I think Trey should have ended with Amy, like, as, like, the closer for the entire trilogy. You could have put The Forgotten on this, because at least that would have made more sense. You got The Forgotten for the upcoming one, instead of the one that's upcoming after the one that's upcoming. Called Closer for Dose, an album that is a wild ride, to say the least. Maybe not a wild ride in the best sense sometimes, but there is some pretty good songs here, and even if a lot of the songs do feel like filler, and a lot of songs I don't have a lot to say about because they're very formulaic. They're very similar to other songs from the trilogy. But thankfully, there's only one album left after this. All right, we've made it to the end of the trilogy with Trey, named after Trey Cool, playing on the fact that this is the third album. Just wish this wasn't the album he had to be named after. Because it's not the best, honestly. I feel like the overall amount of garbage on Trey is less than Dose, but Trey just feels like an unnecessary album. Like, a lot of these songs just feel like the ones they couldn't have fit on the other two. But most of them are better than the ones on Dose. But, like, Dose feels like the more complete package. It's complicated. So yeah, Trey was the last album to be released of the trilogy, released in December 2012. Originally supposed to be January 2013, but they bumped it up after the iHeartRadio meltdown, because they wanted to give people this album early, because they're like, hey, if we can't tour, here's the album early. So it was by this point I wanted to take a break, but I was like, no, I'm finishing these albums. I wanted to be done with Trey. Like, I wasn't like pissed or just like fed up or whatever. I just wanted to be done with the trilogy. Illuminati confirmed. Didn't know that was in here. So yeah, the trilogy was just too much too soon. Too little, now you're coming unglued. So yeah, Trey. This is an album. It's not a bad album by any means, but it is an album. Let's talk about the songs. Okay, so starting things off, we got Brutal Love. Really mediocre opener. That's all I'm gonna say. It's just mediocre. Not a bad song. I haven't come back to it. Missing You is kind of sad. It's like about, I think it was written like, because like, when they go on tour, Billy was like, I miss my wife. I'm missing you. Some of the lyrics there are actually, like, they're pretty clever. Like, you're looking for people, and I searched the moon, I looked under the bed. I'm not doing a good song singing this, so just listen to it instead. It feels like dollar store Stay the Night. Like, when I want to listen to Stay the Night, I listen to Stay the Night. I'm not like, I want to compromise and listen to Missing You. Not a bad song, pretty good overall. It just feels way too similar to Stay the Night. 8th Avenue Serenade, I liked more when I was first starting to listen to the cuts from the trilogy a little bit more. Not bad, It just kind of gets lost in the shuffle with so many songs on this damn trilogy. Drama Queen, again, I listened to it more, and I liked it less. I think it would have been a little bit better if that was the opener. It feels more like, yeah, this is the third one, which is a very specific, like, tone you have to hit, which I don't know if Drama Queen would have done all that well, but I still think Drama Queen would have made a little bit more sense being the opener for Trey. Alright, X-Kid. X-Kid, I probably will end up making an entire video just about X-Kid, because I think it is one of the best songs from the trilogy, and arguably one of the greenest songs. One of the most underrated Green Day songs, because it sums up a very specific thing about, like, getting older and, like, the fears of that, and how some people just don't grow up, and it, like, sucks. And, like, the song is also, like, a pretty dark song. I think it was written, I'm pretty sure it was written about a friend of the band who killed himself just because, like, life just got too much. And it's a pretty like, once you know that, it's a kind of sad song. And, a lot of the lyrics there I do find pretty relatable for me. Yeah, I'll probably end up making an entire video about how, like, what X-Kid kind of means to me, because I feel like I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it justice in this video, where I'm just kind of glossing over the trilogy as a whole. So yeah, following that up with Sex, Drugs, and Violence, which is a way too similar name to Blood, Sex, and Booze from Warning. It's like, okay, so, like, what I was saying with X-Kid, this song, but it's a different kind of personal song, because it makes me feel nostalgia, which nostalgia is a very dangerous emotion for me. But, like, it just reminds me, for some reason, of just going to school in 2012. So this would be, like, grade 1, and I'd be hating my life. Some things never change. And just, after school, just rushing home, eating Apple Jacks, and watching reruns of, like, cartoons. It just reminds me of that. It just reminds me, like fall 2012, even though this didn't come out in fall 2012. It's this very, like, specific feeling that I know, like, 0% of people watching this video will, like, understand. It encapsulates it for me for some ungodly reason, and I don't know why. Like, I didn't hear it anywhere. Like, this wasn't a radio hit as a kid. This wasn't even a single from the album. And I like it. A Little Boy Named Train, on the other hand, I didn't really like it that much. Can you tell I don't come back to songs I don't like? Amanda is one of the many songs written about Amanda, who was the subject of Good Riddance and, like, a couple other songs. Yeah, Amanda is written about Billy Joe's ex named Amanda. It's kind of, like, written as if, like, he's talking to her, or, like, talking to himself about her. It's this very weird song. Another song I can kind of relate to, but I'm not going to make an entire video about it. It's a pretty good song. Like, again, I feel like you're noticing, like, a lot of this is just Trey is just, like, kind of a mixed bag of an album. Walk Away, another pretty good song. May have been from Cigarettes and Valentines. May not have been, because Walk Away is a pretty generic-ass name for a song to have. Kind of, like, it builds. Like I said, like, Oh Love builds, but, like, it doesn't really feel like it's building. Walk Away feels like it's kind of building up, which is followed by what Green Day does really well, which is multi-part songs. Dirty Rotten Bastards took its sweet-ass time growing on me, but good God, I understand why everyone kind of likes Dirty Rotten Bastards. Like, it starts with, like, the FNAF fucking song. It's a classical piece. I don't remember the name of it. It builds to that, and then it kind of ties back to that, and then, like, at the end, like, the ending, like, the final bit of Dirty Rotten Bastards was like, way, carried away, carried away, carried away. Like, that's kind of like this, like, I picture, like, that's, like, the lighter moment, like, when everyone, like, pulls out their lighters and does the arm thing. But, yeah, originally I hated Dirty Rotten Bastards. I really like it now. It's a pretty standout song. It just feels like a conclusion. Too bad it's not the conclusion, because what's coming up next? 99 Revolutions, bitch! 99 Revolutions. Good song, terrible placement in the track list. Usually when Green Day does a multi-part song, with the exception of Jesus of Suburbia, it's the penultimate song of the album. It's like, here's the multi-part song, here's this big conclusion, or, like, climax, I think. Yeah, climax would be the better word to use. Here's this big-ass climax. Here's the end. Like, the reason Jesus of Suburbia worked, not being the second to last song, I mean, and there was Homecoming, too. And then you go, 21st Century Breakdown is also a multi-part song, but that was like kind of the opener. But the reason those two songs worked is because they were put towards the start of the album. Those were like, you have the scene setter, and then you have this is what's happening. Like, this is the true start here. Dirty Rotten Bastards doesn't work being the third to last song because Dirty Rotten Bastards, it feels like it's building to the conclusion, but the conclusion is still far enough away with 99 Revolutions, which, don't get me wrong, I love 99 Revolutions. It's one of the better songs from the trilogy. It just doesn't work with where it's placed. It doesn't have it, like, this album just feels like a B-sides compilation. Because I think 99 Revolutions, that feels like an opener. That feels straight up like an opener. Like, I was talking about Drama Queen maybe not feeling the best as an opener. I think, like, ignoring the fact how I feel like what I said about Amy probably should have been, like, the finale for the entire trilogy. 99 Revolutions should have been the opener for Trey, because it fits that description better. Yeah, it's just a good song. Forgotten, on the other hand, The Forgotten... Okay. Forget that this was in Twilight. Forget that. Just ignore that. Decode's a good song. The Forgotten just sucks. It just flat out sucks. It's just boring. It is, like, this is, like, a song that I consider just flat out boring to listen to. Like, I'm not against big, like, ballads. I'm not against that. It's just The Forgotten just goes nowhere. Perfectly summarizes, like, how I felt at the end of the trilogy. I remember just sitting there, like, face palming almost. Not, like, because of the contents of the lyrics or anything. I just wanted it to be done. I wanted the trilogy to be done, and when it was done, I was relieved. So yeah, overall, Trey is just a pretty mixed bag of an album. It's like Uno Light. That's how I describe it. Uno Light. Like, you have, like I could see if they were trying to maybe do something like a different, like, have every album have, like, an identity of its own, but Trey just doesn't feel like anything. It just feels like a compilation of unused songs that, like, didn't make the cut on Uno and Dos. I'm gonna talk about Quattro now, because that also is something that exists. So, Quattro. This is not an album. This is a DVD documentary of the making of Uno Dos Trey. Whoa! So yeah, Quattro. So the day I'm recording this is also the same day I watched Quattro finally, because I've had this for months, and I've been like, I'm gonna watch Quattro. I've never really had a motivation to watch Quattro before. I just kept putting it off because, like, I don't really watch movies anymore. I don't get excited. Like, that's a whole other tangent I can go on about movies. Like, I don't get excited for movies anymore, and if I do, it's like a movie I really care about. So, like, I wasn't taking notes during Quattro, just trying to, like, have a decent enough time during Quattro, because it's not that bad. Just good luck finding it. But yeah, Quattro overall, it's literally what it says on the tin, the making of Uno Dos Trey. Like, it's a lot of the band in the studio, demoing songs, talking about stuff. The interviews are all audio interviews, like, there's no visual component to them. It's a really interesting look at how, like, where the band was when they were making the trilogy. And you get some decent enough insight on it, but nothing like you wouldn't be able to find in, like, interviews. And also, like, it shows them playing a bunch of shows, and, like, the shows they're playing, they're like, we're just gonna play new stuff. And people were, like, some of them were kind of pissed, like, but overall, like, they got it. And they were saying, like, like, it makes us feel like, like, we're a new band again playing in, like, Gilman Street. But it was just cool to see the band make, like, just seeing them do stuff and where they were at the time. And, some of the statements are a little bit ironic, given my overall thoughts on the trilogy, which I'll get to. Yeah, it was a solid enough documentary. It wasn't really trying to be more than what it was. Necessary to fully enjoy the trilogy? Absolutely not. I bet most people probably haven't even seen Quattro or knew Quattro existed. But for those who care enough to track down a copy or find it somewhere, you'll get your enjoyment out of it. It's a solid documentary. Yeah. There's some fun. It's like a fun behind the scenes thing, Not really much else to say about Quattro. It's just a nice little quaint documentary. So, my final thoughts on Uno Dos Trey. Overall, they're not terrible albums. as like individual albums, they range in quality for sure. Like individual songs from the albums, it's nothing too irredeemably bad. It's like they're not terrible. There is some pretty solid Green Day songs in the within the 3 albums. Now I'm gonna ask the age-old question: did this need to be 3 albums? Absolutely f***ing not. I think this being a triple album kind of hurt the band on a couple levels. Like, it just was too much in too short amount of time, and like they just felt like they kept having to outdo themselves after American Idiot, which, you know, that may have gotten to their heads a little bit. There was also the iHeartRadio meltdown, which sucked because it did harm the press for Dose and Trey because they couldn't do press. But like, then again, like I said at the beginning, I'd much rather Billy Joe still be alive than, you know, numbers for these two being a little higher. I mean, look, they had good intentions, like making this a triple release. Like, you know, let's just make as much as possible and put it out there. Like that I can understand. I can see why they thought that was a good idea. There was really only 1 album's worth of solid content on here, because there's just a ton of filler and arguably terrible songs sandwiched between some of their best songs. Like, I think if they just condensed it all into 1 album, it would be like this whole era of the band would be a little bit more fondly remembered. Like these aren't, there's no overarching concept among these albums. Like, you could kind of make connections between the 3. There's no connective tissue between these albums. So like, there's no reason this had to be 3 albums. And I mean, there's also not really a consensus on which is the best and which is the worst, which, I mean, I'm kind of happy with, because it allows for nuanced discussion. As a whole, the trilogy is just kind of regarded as meh, which I can get behind. Like, overall, the trilogy is just kind of average. As for my rankings, I think, like I said, Uno is my favorite, but I do flip flop between whether I like Dose or Trey more. You know, like I said, Dose, it feels like the more complete package, but it has arguably some of the worst songs. Trey, I think, has the better songs, but it feels like the more unnecessary album. Right now, I think I like Trey just a little bit more, but Dose I don't mind either. But I also agree these 3 albums overall are just kind of okay. Now, is this box set worth it? I'd certainly say it is worth it. Because, I mean, I think, like, if you can track it down for a decent price, which, I mean, good luck doing that, with like everything in it, I'd do it personally, because it's a really premium feeling box set, and it's I think, like, if you had to buy Uno Dos Tre, like, if you just really had to do it and you, like, money wasn't an issue, I'd recommend trying to search to seek this out. So yeah, I think, like, overall Uno Dos Tre is it's just kind of okay, and it's better than Father of All. So yeah, this is just kind of what I wanted to do. I've been wanting to talk about this box set in particular for a little while now, and I just was like, hey, this is gonna be kind of a more simple video, and I don't really know if I'm gonna make another video like this style, this kind of freeform discussion again. So yeah, until next time, see you around.